Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Dan.
Welcome to our channel. Now, last week you saw us installing the windbreak membrane on all four facades of our tiny house. And now that we're on day 22, it's time to work on the roof. But first, Dan, what are we going to do?
Well, we're gonna start with putting a windboard on the lines. We have a straight line, and then we're gonna just gradually work ourselves up from the bottom part and up to the inner walls. So we know that we have the outside secured from the wind and elements. And after that is done, we're gonna really start with the insulation and plastic from the inside.
First task of the day, moving this little decking on the other side of the house. Because as you might know, I built this deck a couple of weeks ago, and just to help us installing the roof. It is a beast to move. It is so heavy. Nonetheless, it needs to be done, so let's do it. Day 22. It's going to be slow going, my love, today, I feel.
It was good with a day of rain, and then we did the day of paperwork in town and tile hopping.
Yes, we've also found our bathroom tiles. They are amazing. If you'd like to see them, you can head out to our Facebook group, Simple Life Portugal. We've posted a few mood boards lately as well, so this could give you an idea of the style of tiny house that we'll have.
You're gonna hold here, and I walk the big part.
You want to? As you guys know, Dan's going to be working on the foot of the roof right now, and my job for today is going to be to carry the stuff for him, screw and cut some of the stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
Small ear,
40.
40. Yes.
33.
Yes.
Don't do that.
What do you think about your progress today?
I think it's good progress.
Yeah?
It's a bit fiddly to do the foot of the roof and get it straight and get all bits and bobs in place, but now it's done, you don't have to do it tomorrow.
Yay! We're now on day 23 of our tiny house build, and today the main mission is to work on the roof. Now we've had a massive thunderstorm last night, which means that today we kind of have a really good climate to build.
Yeah.
We are expecting on and off rain, but it should just be drizzle, so it shouldn't be a big problem.
And also for the coming 7 days at least, it's gonna be partially cloudy, but no rain really, massive rains. So we hope that's gonna stay because we're gonna do the plastic from the inside and the insulation from the outside. I mean, it's a risk element to do the plastic first with the insulation without having the cover, but I'm quite confident that we're gonna be able to do it before another rain comes. But it's a risk element. It's really risk versus reward because we don't want to put the insulation from the underside up because it's just a pain and it gets in your eyes and it's just the worst thing to do the insulation from the roof installation from the inside is just a pain. It's mineral wool insulation, which means it's basically rock that we made into cotton candy. But it also means that you're never going to have mold problems or pesticide problems and stuff like that. And it retards fires. And it's a general good insulation to have, mineral insulation that's done from stone.
Okay, so let's do it.
Let's try to do it, but I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Let's try to do it.
Do it!
Let's try to do it!
I really don't need your help now, boo. Okay. Mr. Mason, get up.
Yeah. The human toolbox to your rescue.
definitely a calculated risk to put the plastic on the whole house and then put the insulation on, because you're playing with fire, or in this case water. So, but then again, if the insulation gets wet, just wait a couple of days to dry out and then put on the roof.
Okay.
And also, I would say that if you staple it on the side there, so staple it too tight, so because the roof pitch is like this, so the water is going to travel down to this space, and you leave some space for the water to go through in one side at least.
It's a good idea, so it doesn't pool in the pockets. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. You beep all the time, you. You have water, you have food, you have shade. The only thing that you don't have is you're not in my arms. What you beeping for? The beeping stops. The beeping stops. The beeping stops. You're such a beeper. If I start folding it, rolling it up that way, would that help?
Well, I think you should be two doing this, but it's just gonna go everywhere.
Okay.
But it would be good if you could swap straight. I'm gonna measure and cut the insulation tomorrow for the roof, so we have that done. Tomorrow we can just start putting it up and put the boards in place.
Sounds good. Day 24 of our tiny house build. Today is going to be epic because
putting the insulation and the roofing on. The roof boards.
Exactly. Now, one of the weather apps predict a mild day tomorrow with around 7% chances of rain, while the other weather app predicts heavy rain. So we don't want to take any chances to get our insulation wet. We need to work today. And we're mentally prepared to possibly work until night falls. So
Again.
But anyway, without further ado, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, babe, so you're going through the window and I pass on the insulation and then you stack them up on the decking, right? Okay. Awesome. Step one for today, go. As some of you might know, it's not easy nowadays to find the right building material. In fact, these little screws pre-assembled with the 3 parts, they're really, really hard to come by. However, you can assemble them yourself, which means that while Dan's on the roof, I'll assemble some screws. I have about 500 to do. Let the fun begin. What do you think, Mason? It's like IKEA screws, is it? We have about an hour and a half worth of daylight. The sun is setting, close to setting. And it looks like we have 6 rows of boards left. Without a doubt, we're exhausted. We're resolute in getting our roof done, at least the wooden part, so that if one of the app is right and we do get rain tomorrow, all our hard work is not going to be spoiled. My husband is a beast, I have to say. He's an absolute beast. I'm a really lucky woman. I know that.
For the day. I got a heart on it.
I put hearts on a few boards. Is the first time you noticed it?
First one I saw now.
This one has hearts as well.
Bad husband.
No, best husband. Last row for today. Get about 20 minutes worth of daylight, so it's looking good. I think we can say mission accomplished. Yes. Oh, I'm tired.
How I wasn't casted as Spider-Man is something unbelievable.
You are amazing. Oh, I can't believe it.
Holy, that was a long day. 50 boards.
My hero! We're now on day 25 of our tiny house build, and today you're going to see multiple jobs happening pretty much all at once. Dan, what are we going to be doing exactly?
Well, to start with, we need to build a ladder because we don't have any way to get up on the roof now, safe to get up on the roof. So we're gonna take some 3x3s and put some battens on it to make a ladder. Though it's gonna be a bit heavy, but it's gonna help us to get access to the roof a bit easier and safely.
So that's part of the many jobs that you'll see, but stick along and then we're going to tell you a bit more as we go from one step to another. We'll try to guide you and explain you a bit more what we're doing just to make this roof absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So,
and there is no such thing as the perfect roof build, I think, but at least this option that we go with, I think is gonna be the most secure for the type of climate that we live in, with all the bugs and shifting weathers and heavy winds and rain, and scorching temperatures in the summer. So it's I would say it's a bit of a hybrid roof, but I think it's gonna work perfectly well for what we need it for.
absolutely. So enough talking. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Now, ladders are super expensive in this part of the world. In fact, just to get the ladder that we need to work on the roof, we would have need to spend around 200 to 250 euros, which is money that we really don't have right now because the inflation is just eating up our contingencies. So, to get this project done, Dan's asked me to cut the battens at 50 centimeters, and this is what I'll do. So right now, they just so that our viewers understand, you're just throwing battens in between the beams, or the voids, or however you want to call them, that are protruding from the house, right? Okay. And I'm going to be cutting them at 60. Dave, do you want to explain what this board will do exactly? This batten?
Just to sandwich in the wind tarp, so it doesn't to create the barrier all the way up to the roof lining.
Okay.
But we're gonna have what's called ventilated foot of the roof and head of the roof, which means we're gonna have air circulating here to make sure that if we get any moisture in the insulation, the moisture has somewhere to escape, both from the sides and up top.
Perfect.
And by having a good airflow, you minimize risk for mold and stuff like that.
Okay.
Keep the wood with the elements, but keeping it away from moisture, basically.
And so it's worth saying at this time that, like, if you're going to be using corrugated metal, if you just did corrugated metal, insulation, plastic, and gyps, you're causing yourself so much problem, right?
Yeah, the problem, as I see it, there might be different opinions out there, but when you put the metal straight on the wood, the heat exchange goes so fast from the metal down to the wood. That's basically when moisture creates. A known stretch of the imagination is a wooden house, maintenance free. It's a living and breathing structure which you need. That's why you need to have membranes that breathes, for instance, don't trap the moisture on the wrong side of your house with where the most of your timber is going to be, because then you're just creating even more movement in the house. You want to, as far as my opinion go, the wood should be able to live with the seasons. When it's cold, it slowly works into the season, and same with the summer. It just have the time to find itself in the elements.
Yeah.
Not too quickly.
Okay.
And also, I think worth pointing out is when you pick your windbreaker, if you build in wood, make sure that your windbreaker is it stretches, because your building is gonna go a bit like this, a bit like that, a bit like that, according to the season. If you don't have a membrane that allows stretching, it's gonna tear, and that usually happens when you pick a paper membrane with some sort of tar resin on it or so. But that's usually old products. These new woven products are mostly flexible, but if you buy it, make sure it says allows flexibility.
So the best attribute, you want them fire retardant, breathable, and flexible.
Flexible. That's the three things it should have. Otherwise, you should seek other things for sure.
And the best way to avoid dry rot and insect eating up the structure is really to have good ventilation.
Good ventilation is key, and it starts from the foundation. Make sure that you have the yerba de malas or
the weed repellent tarp.
Repellent tarp, exactly.
Yeah.
That's where if you don't start from the ground up, it's gonna find its way through the structure eventually, and then everything goes up. And if you don't have plastic, for instance, all the moisture is gonna come through and be on your roof, and then it's just problem waiting to happen.
Do you have more knowledge to share with our viewers? so much more, but we don't want to overwhelm them.
I don't know. I mean, stick frame it's kind of like Lego. Just if it's sturdy enough to build with Lego, you can kind of apply the same technique in stick framing. I think it's just the calculation of the wood, the how much they flex and how much the breaking point is, because it's very different from, as I think you mentioned before, the roof beams are in yellow pine, which is a very flexible type of wood. Although we added the backbone or the spine on it, so it's taking up the rigidity a bit, the flexibility a bit, in case a bit more rigid type of wood, but we still had the flex in it.
Yes, so the roof beams are in yellow pine. I don't think I've added it in our last videos, that part where we talked about it.
Yeah.
And the actual studs are in Nordic pine. Nordic pine is pretty awesome, although hard to find, because termites are less attracted to
in
it.
this region, accordingly to the locals.
Yes, exactly. According to the.
Although we're gonna have on the outside the cladding, it's gonna be local red pine, which apparently attracts insects a lot. But that's why we also opted in for having metal in the bottom. I would say it's a two-pronged decision. We don't want the insects to go into the wood from the floor height, and we also don't want the rainwater to bounce on the floor up on the structure again on the wood. So that's why we have the metal in the bottom, I would say.
And the red pine is going to be treated as well.
Yeah, it's going to be treated.
So
only oil though, because we wanted to go with the seasons and create the gray effect of when it's just changing with the years as the years goes on.
Exactly.
But it's going to be an ongoing process of oiling it every year for the next 5 years, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then we have to see how much the sun beats on it then.
So on and so on, yeah. Because our tiny house, and that's something that we've said before, but I think I might have edited that out of the video. We didn't want to have one of those modern looking tiny houses that would just stand out in the landscape. We're in a mountain region, and already building in wood here makes the structure stands out a little bit, but we wanted a house that would look old pretty quickly.
Like a shed on a meadow, because that's what it's been used for I don't know how many years, but the cows has been grazing here, and our closest neighbors are goats that currently occupies in our other house.
Because we have two other houses now. In fact, it's 4 other houses, but it's considered as 2.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, they had 4. One of them had 3 articles, and one of them had 1 article. Now there's 1 article for each house.
Yeah. So we bunched them together.
Yeah.
That's all the paperwork that needs to go through.
Yeah.
And I guess it's different in all regions of Portugal as well, but here it was doable to take all the 4 fall articles and bunch it into 1 instead.
Yeah, exactly. One of them is collapse. You might be able to see it too. I'm trying to remember which video we put that in. I think it was
First Day on the Land, maybe?
First Day on the Land, yeah. So one of them is the totally collapsed house, which we hope will be turned into a carpentry shop for Dan later. And the other one is the goat house, which we clean, I think, in week 3 or something like that.
Dirty goat house, I think.
Hey, God, that place was nasty.
But so far, it's used by the local shepherd as housing the goats and the kids. So we don't really want to offend her and make her change her way of living. So as long as she's going to have the goats, she's happy to use the house.
That's the thing. If you're going to be joining a small hamlet like we are in North Portugal, it's important not to impose your way of doing things. For us, it's all about finding ways to add value to the community, not come here and say, this is how we're doing things, this is our property. No, absolutely not. Teresa, that's the village shepherd, she's been using this house for the baby goats, our property for the baby goats, for God knows how many years. I don't think it would have been well seen if we kicked her out or kicked the goats out. And frankly, that house, I mean, it's a stone house, which we'll renovate at some point.
Yeah.
But as long as Teresa needs the house, she gets to use the house. The carpentry shop is going to be built quicker than the goat house.
Yeah.
But
maybe let's see.
We got so many plans and building and houses to renovate.
You don't really see it, but the house is just up there by the other fallen ruin, so it's directly connected to this plot as well. So
I think we had one of the episodes we started in front of the collapsed house when we got one of the delivery Yeah, I think I remember that. Then you can see the collapsed house, which had 3 articles, which we merged into one. And it's a fairly big house to renovate, which means that you're going to have a massive carpentry shop.
But
which
we're gonna
you need.
half the house because we need the storage space up there. So I think we're gonna create some sort of other stuff. But and by the way, we're going to town tomorrow again to go to sign some more papers and make sure that everything is fit for fight, so to say.
Yeah.
It's a lot of paperwork, but it gradually happens, and luckily, when you live in a small village or community like this, parish, they're very helpful and friendly, and Portuguese in general. These people are keen to help and they want you to. In our case, at least, they want us to move here. And they're very helpful.
All the doors were open for us.
Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah.
So easy. The next part of the project that you guys will see is very similar to what you saw yesterday. So we're going to be adding some boards at the head of the roof, which means that Dan is going to be nailing and I'm going to be carrying and cutting. Right, baby? I think we can safely say that right now we'll close this video because you still have some nailing to do on the roof.
Yeah, because we only put one nail on each board to beat the time of the sunlight to get the insulation covered. That's about it. And then now I need to complementary with the second nail.
And meanwhile, I'm gonna start ahead on varnishing some of the boards for the head of the roof and the side as well, right?
Yeah.
Now, we just want to say a massive thank you to everyone. It almost brings me to tears, really. Like, as of today, we have 1,590 subscribers. People from all over the world are watching us. It means so much to us, guys. Really, it totally does, right?
Yeah.
We started this channel just to keep our family up to date with our build and hopefully inspire a few people to do the same thing. But yeah, it's amazing. We're so touched by your views and your comments, and
thank you for keeping it friendly in the comment section as well. It's a very friendly community, and it shows on the comment, I think.
Well, I really hope you've enjoyed today's content, and again, from the bottom of our heart, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's get varnishing and nailing down.
Let's do it.
See you next week. Ciao.